This weather pattern is about to shock a lot of people and catch them off guard. Now, we have two extreme weather patterns that's going to happen as we go through the rest of August. So I'm going to go through the latest details so you know exactly what is coming around the corner with the heat and the cool fronts as well. I see some people are confused with the timing on their temperatures. Plus, the severe weather for today has shown true on the chances for the derecho. We have a lot of powerful winds that is coming through. Chances for 60 to 85 miles per hour wind gusts expected by National Weather Service. So we'll go through this as well. I hope y'all watched my report from last night because these impacts are showing true. Very strong winds. But first, let's go through the updates with the data so you know what the weather pattern is doing right around the corner with confidence, everybody. Now, look at the latest information. This is your EPO, your East Pacific Oscillation. Right now, we are in a negative, but remember, this is the portion where you get the cool fronts and it gets reinforced heat every single day. I told you this. Now, as we go later into August, especially as we go from August into September, this is where it won't have the reinforced heat from the central to the eastern United States. So you will really feel these cool fronts later on. Now, the big extreme we're going into, as we go towards the high teens into the early 20s, we're going towards a positive EPO. This is going to bring some strong ridging and a lot of heat before our big cool down comes through. So you can see this a little closer here with the main models and with the ensembles, confirming we're in that negative EPO and we're going towards that positive. Only the GFS is not on board. Now, this is happening sometimes around the 17th and 18th. You can see we're in that negative now, but when you look at your AO, your Arctic Oscillation, you can see that this cool air is not coming through until around the 13th and beyond. So every single day we had these cooler nights, still got the mugginess of the dew points, but we had the reinforced heat because the cool air did not come through. Remember, from the middle of the month on is going to bring cool fronts across north central, the Great Lakes, maybe even the Ohio Valley, and out through the Northeast. This is going to deepen as you go towards the end of August. So you can see that diagram here. So we have that troughing along the west, bringing in the cooler temperatures with that ridging along the central and the east as we go through this positive EPO. You can even see this on the latest outlook by National Weather Service all the way from the 16th towards the 20th, right before we go through another change. That you have below average temperatures in the blue, average in the white, but we got this ridging that's building up, and this is bringing a lot of heat towards the south and the southeast. In fact, not only was last July the hottest July ever, it was the hottest temperatures ever recorded since we started recording temperatures here for the U.S. So it was a very hot month. Now, as we finish going through this weather pattern of this positive EPO, as we go from the 18th all the way towards the 21st, you're going to see this big ridging of heat that's going to persist across the south and the southeast. This has grown. Instead of over here across the central and the south central, now it's showing it's going to grow across the southeast as well. That's why I say this weather is always moving and you must keep updated with the updates. But we're still getting those cool fronts across the north, and you will feel it at night. But once again, this will be reinforced with heat every single day. So make sure you hydrate for this. Also, it's going to bring onset drought risk, and all of this orange color has grown all the way down towards Mississippi and Louisiana. And we have the drought may persist or worsen in these dotted areas. So this is what you can expect all the way towards this Friday. You have cooler temperatures coming through with that troughing across the northern half of the lower 48, across the Great Lakes, some of Ohio Valley, interior Northeast. But every single day, we're going to have this reinforced heat coming back, and you're going right back into the 70s, if not the 80s, for those that was in the cooler temperatures overnight. This is going to change at the end of August. So for this Friday, you can see your temperatures for those extreme heat temperatures and with our heat index value, because all the dew points is going to feel very hot, everybody. Overnight Friday into Saturday, you can see we still have this jet stream ridging across the central U.S. and coming back down like this, bringing the cooler temperatures overnight. And you can see during the day, the heat comes right back, still have the reinforced heat. Still bringing those very hot temperatures and very muggy dew points. This is this Saturday. Sunday, here it goes again with the 50s and the 60s. Once again, it's going to warm back up. So these are your temperatures for Sunday and your heat index value. This is your feels like temperatures. Sunday night into Monday, bringing the 50s even lower down the north central, the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes, interior Northeast. But once again, it's going to warm right back up. Now we're showing 110 to 115 temperatures and very strong heat indices all week long. And then next Saturday, here comes another cool front. Now this could bring down not only the 60s, but maybe the 50s and possibly some 40s. This is by the 22nd. This is where we're going through that big change. So once we get past this positive EPO, we're going to that negative EPO. So remember, it has that little wavy lines. So it's going to be cool fronts all through the end of August, going through September. But with a negative EPO, you get that ridging all the way towards Alaska. And this is where you get the cool fronts going a little deeper into the central and the eastern United States. This is where you don't have the heat reinforcements coming back every single day, and you actually feel these cool fronts. In fact, you can see the latest update with NOAA as we go through for the end of August from the 22nd on through September. You can see the heat moves towards the west because we go through that negative EPO without the heat reinforcements, and you go back to equal, probably below average chances. This is for the whole month of August. But you see how the heat leaves from the central towards the eastern U.S. So as we go through for this weekend, showing we still have these cooler nights coming through. We have the reinforced heat every single day as we go all through the weekend. Like I said, it's going to be northern, then it's going to come a little bit central and southern later on. Then as we go through for next week, we still have the cooler nights. We have the reinforced heat every single day coming across the south. And this is where it starts going towards the high teens into the 20s. And this is where we go to that negative EPO. This is where we get not only a lot of cool fronts across the east, the ridging of heat across the west. We could see a big cold front coming through as we go through the 20s, as all this reinforced heat starts leaving. Showing in the latest updates, it could reach all the way down towards Texas and Mexico, even over here for Cuba, Yucatan, and Florida. This is a little too far to believe these temperatures, where they're going to be at exactly. I will keep you updated. But we're seeing this cooler anomaly come through, just like we've been expecting with the data. So as we go by for the 22nd, obviously it's past 10 days. I'm trying to show you a roundabout temperatures of what we're looking at with the weather pattern. You can see for the daily highs that now we have these cooler anomalies coming through without the reinforced heat to the north. And now you're in the 60s and 70s, still very hot across the south, the southwest, and the southeast with very strong heat indices as well. Then overnight Saturday into Sunday, look how the 50s and 60s, even these 40s starts pushing into the U.S. Then for your highs, you see you don't have the reinforced heat coming back. It's still along the Gulf, along the south and the southeast, going towards that ridging towards the west. But now you're in the cooler temperatures, and these are your highs. This is Sunday on the 23rd. Your heat indices are still bringing very strong temperatures all the way from the south, all the way across for the southeast. Then overnight into the 24th, possibly bringing the 40s even deeper. Now, this is going way too far to believe whether these are going to be 40s or 50s or even low 60s. We got to get closer to know this for sure. In fact, when you go by climate forecast system, it is one of our long range models. You can see as we go into the early 20s, it starts believing also that it have these 40s and 50s and 60s that's going to move through from the western towards the eastern U.S. Then as we go through from August into September, that is going to go even deeper and bring in cooler temperatures, everybody. The weather pattern is showing true. The data is showing true, and it's going to bring some cooler temperatures. Now, the latest on the tropics. So we have multiple things going on. Still showing what's happening for Hawaii. Could be a direct hit. I will give you the latest updates on that. Now, you see this tropical wave is very much elongated. 30% in the next 48 hours, 70% in the next 7 days. That's because it's just now coming off the coast of Africa, if they even came off with the second portion yet. And they're not quite confident of what's going to happen when it goes further towards the west. Some are showing it'll still get pulled northward by that high pressure when that trough creates that opening. Remember, that's a strengthening storm, and if it's weaker, it's going to go further towards the west. And that's been a little bit of a trend, showing a weaker system going further towards the west, which of course would get sucked up by the dry air and would mess it up where it couldn't do anything. Once it gets into the Caribbean, that could bring rainfall towards the Lesser Antilles, and if it gets pulled around still by the high pressure, that could bring issues towards Bermuda. Showing chances for a tropical depression is still good, but once you go 6 and 7 days, this is where it could go a little bit westward, more than a northwestward. We're starting to see a little bit of newer information in that, showing it has really a turning signal. So once we go somewhere around 8 days, it's either going to go west or it's going to go northwest and start turning by the high pressure. It all depends whether it's strong or a weak tropical wave. Now, if it goes west, I'm not showing that is a threat for anyone else. And if it goes northward, maybe for Bermuda. Now, things to watch for this is still as it goes northward, if it does take that stronger turn, that as it's dealing with this front that we're going to go through as we go through the 20s, everybody, that this is still doing a little zigzag over here, and it could inch itself a little bit closer towards the west. Still not showing it's an issue, but we're seeing it grow a little bit further towards the west. Also, the latest trend, you can see this is the Canadian showing the first wave and the next one that didn't even come off the coast of Africa yet. Both of them going towards the west, showing weaker anomalies that will just bring some rainfall. You can see this also with the Euro that is trending. That will more likely just be a weaker anomaly going towards the west. Plus, Invest 93C over here in the Pacific, 60% in 48 hours, 90% in the next 7 days. Showing now that we're starting to see more of that westward push, more likely could be a direct hit going towards Hawaii. However, the strength has come down, so a little more believable of that tropical storm intensity is showing true. If it takes further north on that northern route, it could be even weaker of a tropical storm because it's going towards cooler waters. However, still showing that it's trending by GFS and Euro, that this system is going right towards the islands as we go through from Friday into Saturday. You can see this with the Euro as well, a little bit further southern of it, but it's still showing true. The center is going right over the southern island and then right through towards the west. Either way, bringing a lot of rainfall and a lot of winds. You can see this here, bringing anywhere from 6 to 8 inches, maybe even heavier over here from this brown to this purple. That's going from 7 to 10 and over a foot. Also a couple other islands as well. And with the winds showing chances for 60 to 70 miles per hour wind gusts, 70 in the brown, 80 in the white, getting towards 90 and towards 100 in that red. Plus our severe weather updates. Now, yesterday we had one tornado report in South Dakota. We had some winds, we had some rainfall, but we had a lot of winds that came through, creating a lot of power outages. Now, these are destructive winds. Right now, they have over 180,000 homes without power in Ohio. West Virginia has 22,000 over. Virginia has 21,000. Even California has 12,000. Right now, over 308,000 homes without power. With the winds coming through all day today and then multiple rounds for tonight, also for tomorrow, this is going to add up to more power outages. So for today, you still have your tornado threat. It is a 2% so far. Here's your cities and states at risk for a possible spin up for today. It's still going to be a big wind story for today, still showing possible derecho. So we still have the big threat for the wind, significant severe in this black hashed area. This is for chances up to 85 miles per hour wind gusts. So here's your cities and states at risk for the high wind threat for today. Also the hail threat for the north central, chances for 2 inches in diameter. So here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat for today. You also can see that it more likely to be favored by severe gusts of 60 to 85 miles per hour winds. So we'll pick up where I left off. We have the winds moving through for Ohio, also from northern Indiana, northern Illinois. That's going to continue through the early afternoon, especially for Indiana, multiple rounds. Then Ohio again by this evening, bringing more winds. Then we get some more storms coming across for the Four Corners and Nevada. Then the storms build up over here for South Dakota. This is a lot of discrete or semi-discrete supercells. Could pose a chance for a quick spin up, but definitely chances for hail with those cells as that comes through all the way to early morning hours, stretching all the way from West Virginia across Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina with these winds. Then another round as you go overnight from Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky again. Then for tomorrow, it's going to spark right back up. Northern Illinois, northern Indiana, bringing more strong winds with that all the way through Kentucky again, while you get more across the central and the north central, also across the Four Corners. So showing just for today on the winds all the way to the early morning hours, bringing chances for 50, 60, even 70 miles per hour wind gusts over here for the western Dakotas, also for Nebraska. Bringing chances for 40 miles per hour wind gusts over here for the Four Corners. Southern California bringing you 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour wind gusts real quick on those storms. Also for Nevada, 40 and 50. But over here across Ohio Valley, this is where it's getting strong. And these winds are going all night, all the way into the early morning hours. So still showing, once again, that derecho is showing true. So look at these winds, everybody. Big areas of 40, 50, even 60 miles per hour wind gusts, showing chances for 70 and all of this brown going through from northern Illinois, Indiana. Also chances for 80 and some of the white in there. But a big area for winds. So please be aware if you're in this region. It's been showing multiple times, a couple of days now, that this was coming. So for tomorrow, for Wednesday, you do have a tornado threat over here for Illinois, Indiana. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for a possible spin up. It will be wind again for tomorrow. So here's your cities and states at risk for the wind threat for tomorrow, for Wednesday. And these winds are some powerful winds. I hope everyone is safe in these storms. Thank you again for your time. Hope this helps you understand what is coming around the corner with the weather pattern. Not only the heat, but the cool fronts. Now remember, you have the reinforced heat until the early 20s. Then we're going to see some cool fronts come through that's going to stay. These cells are starting to become tornadic as well over here for northern Illinois, bringing a lot of strong winds behind it. Remember, this is going to be multiple lines of storms, everybody. Please check on your neighbors. Please check on the pets. Now, before I go, a quick word from our Father, everybody, a prayer for safety. Whether you believe or not, I want to pray for you to be safe. Psalm 91, 1 through 5. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. I pray for you all to be safe. Make sure you're ready for this heat coming around. If you're in the heat, if you're in cooler temperatures, let me know down below. And are you ready for this pattern change? Remember, as we go through the 20s of this month, you're going to see a big change. This is where the heat reinforcement does not come back. That's what's messing everybody up, I do believe. Remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope He keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Be weather aware.